Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Actually, hit the record button without even seeing if YouTube's on, so sure hope Kevin took care of all that. And actually, we had somebody on the call today go, man, I wish I had a Kevin. Where's my Kevin? I need a Kevin. So thank you so much, Kevin. And no, you can't have him. He's all mine. For keeping us on the straight and narrow here. But happy, where are we here? Wednesday morning, 8th of July. Same old conversation that I've had over with you guys over the past week or so. Coming out the other side of that crazy celestial event, and I'm actually wondering whether this is actually going to turn into like a midpoint consolidation, and actually we got another big honking leg higher here in the markets. You just never know in this crazy game, and bids keep coming in. Fed doesn't seem to be interested in taking the punch bowl away, and I suppose the ball's in the court now with U.S. Congress, whether they pass this next stimulus package. Free money, free money. So, as long as the market keeps making higher highs and higher lows, just go with it. And, of course, that crazy gold market just keeps plowing higher. So, and I suppose 2020, I guess that kind of makes sense. Looking at the risk on, risk off kind of conversation, interesting how stocks are kind of stalling out here up against top end of the range. Oil just keeps slowly pressing higher. It'll be interesting to see whether our latest day trading, I guess that would be more like a swing trade. Foray in the crude markets. Let's see how that's doing. Interesting to see yen is trying to firm up here. Bonds already were a bit firmer, but having a bit of a soft day. And there's that crazy gold just going straight up here. Actually today, and this is an interesting commentary about the crypto space. I have heard people say this before, and it makes sense to me. As long as Bitcoin isn't crapping out and heading down, that does actually open, and it's had a bit of a rally window. It does actually open up the opportunity for the altcoins to do rather well. And I do kind of see that kind of environment right now. There are fun little altcoins that are just going absolutely bananas here. One of the popular sort of sentimental names in the space took off overnight. A lot of the internals in crypto are also suggesting more outperformance by the little ones. In a weird sort of way, when I look at like big things like Bitcoin and the stock market kind of just sitting here, I still like the idea of this violently flat kind of market state. But, the interesting thing, like I said, is sometimes within these violently flat market states, right, bottom end of the range. Remember the other day we had that sort of, the time has come, the walrus said, something was going to happen. The market was ready to dump everything. All the lights were open, and I came back after my time with Liam, and they brought the market screaming back. And actually, we spent most of the daily brief today just talking about crypto and that reversal and all sort of the internal signs that we're seeing in the market, that crypto's feeling actually quite happy right now. So with that said, our little chart deck here. US dollar seems to be moving along our course as expected. If anything, I'm probably looking for some sort of counter trend rally off a test of this low here. So we've got our big dump into those lows. Looks like she's coming back a little bit off of those lows now. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, I guess that would be midpoint, would be, I guess, right there, right? So I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out, but this is my expectation. Of course, just because I think that doesn't mean it's going to happen. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, and I was kind of looking at this, yesterday, asking myself, well, it's fun to have these projections and what you think's going to happen, but we should be prepared just in case this thing is thinking bought. Something along the lines of, did we do 33% and no more than 66? So that's correct. And do we start getting 3 lower highs and lower lows to work with to frame a short setup here? That would be implying that interesting. Okay, so you can see this. And did that go to a new high there? Where's the thing here? 97.74, 97.80. Okay, so there's our new high at 80. So can I get like a nice little M that sets up in GWiz? You can see that 25 level. So, and then our rule is, if you are thinking short, what we'd like to see is market structure on the other side of this trend line. Is that enough of a market structure signal to justify taking a short there? Maybe. I don't know. That's tough. I definitely don't like the idea of shorting this candle because, as you can see, this candle, right, that came screaming back up and kissed the trend line from the underside. So now that we do have structural failures on the other side of this trend line, I can understand people shorting this, but terrible location, terrible time frame for a guy like me. What I would prefer to see now, if I was thinking short, is, just give me a nice M and see you later kind of thing. And, like we just said there a moment ago, I'm kind of thinking counter trend rally here. So you can see how this M would set up. I'm going to be really leery as we come through this pivot. I guess that's about the 22nd of July, because that's right around that U.S. government vote date. And I wonder whether it's kind of like they're going to dump the U.S. dollar on that vote. Everybody's going to favor the euro, but it's a trap, and then boom, up we go. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. And I wouldn't really actually trade the US dollar index. I would use this as sort of like a guide, and then I would look at your individual currency that you're interested in. And actually, we're having a lot of fun doing this on the site. You may go and buy a bunch of penny stocks or, little altcoins, and they're not really doing anything day to day. If you ever want to bang out doubles kind of stuff, you might have to wait 6 months, a year. So what do you do in the interim? So I know a lot, like I used to work at a prop firm, and all we did was just trade crude oil all day. So, setups like this, it's a perfectly good way to sort of keep yourself occupied, trading what typical sort of day traders do. So, these are the kind of plans that we keep ourselves busy while we're waiting for swing and higher time frame trade setups to do their thing. So even while waiting for that US dollar index to make its pivots and make its moves, we can still be just trading these currencies through the day and whatever commodity you're interested in. So still in consolidation zone. And with the big unknown about that big U.S. stimulus coming out here, I could see that, if it passes willy-nilly, U.S. dollar just careens lower. I would be watching for divergences in your currencies and stuff on these kind of moves here because, like I said, I do think that this is a bit of a trap, but we'll see what happens. With the U.S. dollar index down as much as it is on the day, I'm actually surprised to see that risk itself isn't really catching that much of a bid. It is, technically, I think we are technically up on the day. Remember I'd said yesterday, and a bunch of TRIers, and actually old OGs who took the program years ago were sending me tweets about potential harmonics in the stock market. So fascinating how risk on here. Even though U.S. dollar index is coming off a chunk, stocks are having a difficult time here. I suppose if we do finish the day as it is, this might be like I remember an old trading guy I used to work with. He used to call this a gravestone doji, but I don't think that's a gravestone doji, according to candlestick people. But I often see if you get this cute, mind you, the low here this morning is lower than this low, so it's not really the best formation. But where am I going with all this? This would technically be a fractal top if we fail tomorrow through whatever low it is we're making this morning. So let's see how that goes. We've rallied smartly off the lows. And remember, I think I was showing you recently, there's like inverse ETFs that I'm very interested in buying down here if we start getting setups. Another sort of conversation of the risk on is oil. Oil inventories, a really interesting data came out today, showed a really big build in oil inventories, but also showed a huge drawdown in gasoline supplies. Big build in heating oil, but really that heating oil is not really in demand right this time of year. We've sort of talked you through how I would approach trying to find a top somewhere up in here. This might take 2 or 3 trades here to try and figure out where the top is and get a position on. So we'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. Candle body highs, the gap, we're into the wick, so all these guys that bought up in here, they're getting released right now. We'll see whether they can break the market up to new highs. If the US dollar is tanking lower and risk is on, I would expect this to go to new highs. And we'll just keep hunting setups and see how long it takes until this thing actually does turn. And then when the move does come back to the 50% rule, this should be a really good exercise to just count up all the losses of the losing trades and then the win of the winning trade and see if we actually even made money through this reporting period. It should be a fun experiment. The risk on camp is catching a bit in energy today. It's just interesting to see how stocks, and I got a whole bunch of stocks that are they're within a whisker of getting doubles, but they're just not giving me the fills, and it's driving me nuts. I think I showed you one yesterday. I had another one today that came within like a nickel of my level, and I just gotta be patient and disciplined. So anyway, that is the stock market and sort of commodity market risk on proxies. Risk off. Just big hurry up and bonds are right back into the old trading range that we followed for literally months. Here we are back in that range. It's interesting how relentless the demand for bonds is through all this. Not really anything new to comment here. Still think we're going to head back up to the top end of the range here. And there's your gold. All you gold bugs. Woohoo! Your day to shine. If anything, what I like in the market is to have strong opinions loosely held. So you might hear me go, oh man, I hate gold. Oh, no, I don't like gold at all. And then like a week later, the market firms up and things start to move up. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm friendly on gold. Hey, look, I'm hunting long setups. It does happen. If anything, you got to be flexible as a trader. One day you might be a bull, next day you might be a bear. I'm extremely leery about considering gold an investment asset here. It's always a good idea to keep a little bit of whether it be gold or whether you want to use digital gold, which I don't know whether I really believe that story just yet. As sort of the end of the world, sky's falling kind of proxy. And then, ultimately when you're making investments, I really think it's a good idea to try and figure out value. And, an ounce of gold right now, I'm not exactly sure what, value is in this space. We were kind of going through this exercise today with the community in that I thought I did this versus USD. Didn't I do this versus USD? Or maybe that was a different study. But, I don't know. What does the gold look like now versus actual dollars? So, ironically enough, Fed just went and basically doubled the money supply. So that means each of these dollars that this thing is quoted in, you really should look at it in real dollar terms versus M2. Was I expecting the Fed to go and just basically double the money supply, just basically cut the purchasing power of the currency in half? No. I don't think anybody was, but it happened. So now the question is, what does this gold really look like in real dollar terms? Ironically enough, the highs that we saw at $2,000 there back a few years ago, they're a million miles away. I mean, how ironic, eh? You look at the spot gold market and you're like, okay, well, we're coming up against those old highs and, that must mean, rock and roll and stuff. But if you look at that chart versus M2, like actual constant dollar terms, that's actually what the gold price is. Isn't that remarkable? So just to get back to 2011 levels, gold's got to go up to like 4,000 or 5,000. Crazy world. I suppose one could argue that reload zones, right? Probably this is still perfectly relevant. So, I suppose if that's 2,000, 4,000 in today's dollars, and of course there's another big stimulus coming. So, what is the value after that? Oh man, this is a tough market to really make sort of sense out of what the value of money is right now. And I know you people are kind of like, well, you're supposed to be the expert. You're supposed to know what's going on. And I'm telling you, they're changing the rules of the game as we're going here. It's shocking. Anyway, I did play the gold market through a gold stock. Actually, I'm up about 50% on those options so far, so I'm feeling pretty positive. Julian, of course, is insanely bullish of gold, so and he's also insanely bullish of crypto. So put the two together. If you leverage one on top of the other, oh my goodness. So in a weird sort of way, I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually feeling like my job at TRI and my job with the public is just about nearing completion now. And I'm kind of envious of John Bollinger last summer. He publicly said, you know what, I've had enough interacting with the public. This year's going to be totally fucked coming up, so I do not want to try and give people guidance through this period because I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know why I added that last part. But anyway, I'll try as best as I can to be a good role model, to give you sound thinking. No guarantees from the management here. And of course, what do they always say? You should probably put the value on this the material based on how much you pay for this. So considering you're getting it for free, maybe that's the value of all this information. I don't know. Risk on, risk off. Kind of that talk about stocks are having a really hard time here. Russell 2000's not really getting going here relative to the Dow. I don't see a lot of sort of, panic buying in the penny stocks that we saw recently. If anything, the only area that actually seems to be catching a bit, of course, is the penny gold stocks. Go figure. Interesting, though, there are names that do look uppy. And, of course, if the stock market continues to work, well, awesome. This happened to be one of Kavarkinator's idea. And we had a TRI SOF club meeting last night. We didn't really have too many new ideas. Kavarki's already bought a bit of this. Maybe he'll do a video one day and show you guys all the levels and stuff from his trades. But we were just sort of, getting the video ready today and going, what's an idea that maybe we haven't shown people before. But, it's not a bad looking idea. You can see the risk window is pretty small here. If we start breaking below down through these levels here, you probably know that this consolidation failed. So you get a pretty tight risk window here on this little name. And I don't know, you tell me, has this thing got any chance at all? Is there any room for this thing to move back up? In this crazy COVID world, could they come out with, oh, by the way, we're introducing this new COVID product. Boom! Up she goes. That's a pretty well-defined risk window there. If you are in the market to take risks, there's tons of altcoins that look exactly like this, but I wanted to show you something in the stock market. And like I said, I mean, I can show you about a half a dozen names that they're all within about like 10% of me getting doubles on, but there's really no point in showing you any of that stuff until I actually book the trade. Heading on over to crypto. I mean, what a beautiful market here for the venture part of crypto. They're just killing it right now. Bitcoin, still think, as sort of a grown-up proxy in the crypto space, it's probably going to follow along the lines of big sort of grown-up proxy assets. It's got CME futures and options and stuff. I think the options boys really bracketed this market here. So, there's a lot of the volatility is probably going to be taken out of Bitcoin's price. But, very much like the bigger stock markets, violently flat. And at the end of the day, we drew this original horizontal support and resistance level as sort of our demarcator. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a big harmonic level right here. Remember, we had that harmonic failure right at that level there. Gee whiz, looks to me like they're taking the market right back to that level. And I had said that this A, B, C, D, and this bearish objective, it will stay in my mind until they actually take out this high. So that's what that is there, right? Interestingly enough, hopefully you can see this pattern looks like they want to go after this high. And this is an interesting conversation because I even, I even asked who in the community did do this trade. I remember on Sunday, I did my public video, the broiler chickens, and I was like, oh, the sky's falling. Get this fucking thing back above 9,300. And literally in 2 days, bang, bang, that's exactly what they did. So it just goes to show anything can happen in this space at any given point in time. But I even asked, and I took the time to mention this because I was very impressed. When I was doing the broiler chicken show, I even said, well, I can understand guys coming in out the bottom end of the range buying. I didn't, but I can completely understand. And as I was saying that, there was somebody in the lounge who said, yep, that was me. I went in there and bought. And that's this trade. Damn ballsy. Buying against the bottom end of the range, no opinion, just live with the results. And you can see they're doing pretty well this morning. You can see, if we just do Hogue value play, I'm not quite sure why I picked that level, but 61.8 there, that's that high. Really conservatively, we should be shooting for 50%. Probably best, why don't we just leave it at 2-to-1 risk reward, because that's really, if there's something you are going to learn from all this, is to try and get into the habit to make sure that if you're right, get paid for your effort. And I like new people to trading just to start with, if I'm wrong, I lose $1. If I'm right, I make $2. So that's a good sort of habit to get into. If you did start to see signs of failure here, you can always get out at a nice profit. But like I said before, this was a ballsy trade. This took balls of steel. So congratulations to anybody who did take it. Way to go. And now you can see this bigger W is coming in here, and it looks like it's being validated. The only problem I have with this with regard to Bitcoin is the volume is very suspicious. It is accelerating here, so that's good. We had beautiful price momentum, very, very strong price momentum. And I was even saying, past few days, hey, we got to rally back up into this reload zone and fail really nicely. I'm going to go and hit this thing. But as you can see, and I bought like one put on the actual MTOP failure. I was going to go and add to the trade, and I haven't got any add signal. You can see inside bar, and I'm so down. Well, we never got the inside bar. So I think this is an excellent testament to sort of that altcoin outperformance. Remember, Litecoin actually had the most pristine of volume breakouts. People were coming in hard on the Litecoin buy side. Little less degree, but still better volume on Ethereum. And you can see the W's are still trying to solidify. W's are solidly in place on Litecoin. And you can see on Bitcoin, we're just starting to try and get this W to come in here. Now, as I said there a moment ago, I still like, and ironically enough for Bitcoin, remember, violently flat, the top of the range here, candle body highs, right? Actually, there's a great candle body high level, but, these wicks, that wick, reload zone. I could see Bitcoin work its way right back up into this area here. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And what I think's going on here, and I've seen this happen before, the altcoins are really the sexy place of the market. And I think I showed you recently that we had a number of setups that I tried to just sort of just visually show you guys as we were sort of going through all this. This was a VET. Holy shit, look at that. Boom! What do you think? Did it hit its bot objective? It hit it and then some. This is probably what they call an alt AB equals CD. That probably like is 1. Maybe it's like 1.618. Let's see what happens if I put that on there. I don't know whether this will work or not. Let's see. 1.61. Let's add an 8 in there. All right, so my hunch is that's probably where it's trying to stab up into. But, if I was botting this, I would be ringing the register here yesterday. And really, I don't mind this. If anything, this is great because, who do you think this is coming in and buying up here? That's the classic tell of a blow-off top if I've ever seen one. And if anything, I like this thinking because what this says to me is it validates what I saw out of is it here? No, not here. Where do I have that chart? Over here? Yeah, this chart. So, quite shocking. Money is pouring into the space. I don't know whether you have seen like that link. Just very, very strong. Dominance here just getting its ass kicked though. But we are coming into chaos levels. We are coming into support lines, key lows, all that kind of talk. And I'm kind of thinking that, like that vet I showed you, man, they moved hard. What I often see happen, and I don't know how long this altcoin rally will last, but great analogy, when this kind of shit is moving, the shit's moving. Classic altcoin kind of market activity. Did Bitcoin double overnight? No. Doge did. So is there justification to be hunting these kind of trades through here? Nanny nibbles, I love just coming in and buying off bottom of the range. That's pretty easy. But this actually now is a pretty damn solid bottom. And FYI, it's kind of fun, but this gap up here at 190, I don't think they've ever actually filled it in. So believe it or not, test of these top end of the range, not out of the question. But the question really here is, why is this kind of stuff moving? And we're in that market state where I think fluff can be bid up really easily. And in essence, if I understand correctly, this is basically viral TikTok video boost the price of Doge. Where these guys on social media, and this is what really scares me about this world that we live in, is it's totally dominated by social media right now. This is like the herd has taken over. And if you say anything politically incorrect on the herd is going to stampede you. But the herd can do stupid things like their plan here, the herd's plan, which is just idiocy, is they want to try and get Doge to $1. But if you think about this, first and foremost, the founder, the creator of Doge said that this was a fun experiment. It was a toy. Does Doge is it actually used for anything in this world? I don't know. It has a great community. It's frivolous. It's fun. But, I won't even do it for you, but go and pull up a price chart in dollars and try and understand how much of a move they have to generate to get Doge to $1. And what would that imply Doge's actual market cap and the size of the network? And it's like, come on. So, enjoy this environment. I don't think this is being moved by fundamentals. I think this is the herd in action here. And it's scary. Like I said, I'm almost envious of John Bollinger. I am sort of starting to see a little bit of that. Where in this silly world right now, the herd is, and whatever the herd's opinion is, way more important than the truth. And it's scary. Very scary times we're living in here. Oh boy. Really very scary. But, what the hell? Make hay while the sun's shining. If you can, manage yourself. Be interesting to see what your, we'll leave that for today. Manage yourself. Try and build a reason checklist. Why do I go and risk my money in the marketplace? I think it's in your best interest to try and keep the bets relatively small, so that way, if you're wrong, you're not toast. Could we continue this frivolity where you see assets move just absolutely insanely? Absolutely. And if anything, my suggestion, but remember, I'm an old guy. I worry about the downside, risk first approach first before I ever think about doing anything. Before you go and go all in on something like Doge, please understand what you're doing. Maybe step back and just ask yourself, well, if this idea doesn't work, what's it going to cost me? So get out there and have some fun. PMA for the win. I tried my best, whether it be on the site, whether it be through these public offerings, to present myself in the most professional manner possible. And I do believe this information works. I do believe that the price that we charge people to learn this information is ridiculously low. And I do also understand, too, that people are incredibly emotionally charged right now. And I might say something that's political in nature. Really, it's coming from a guy that's been around a while. And if I do make a comment about politics, it's more just a function of, is this good leadership? And that's the thing that really bothers me about politicians right now, is leadership. So I know it's contentious. I know it's going to be a tough time. And people are emotionally charged. I am even emotionally charged myself. You can't hold that against me. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion. So play from a position of strength. And frankly speaking, if you're not really that interested in this feed, you don't have to listen. You don't have to watch. I won't be offended if you don't come around TRI. It's no skin off my back. And what I tell you repeatedly in these videos is, I'm not telling you what to buy or sell. I'm telling you what I'm doing with my money. I'm happy to say, I'm more than happy to show you, if it happens to come to it, that my accounts are making money and I'm doing very well. And I believe I'm handling myself in a very professional manner. So, PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. All the best, and bye.